Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy training day here at the Art Boss Sales Formula. I'm just going to go in and make sure that all the technology is working and that I'm live where I should be. Last week I was live in the wrong group. So, not a huge deal, but I'm like going, sometimes you just click the wrong button and you are in the wrong place. So, I'm just making sure everything is working today before I jump into training. Yep, looks good. There we go. Right shirt. Everything looks good. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Let me know as you're signing in that you're here. Give yourself some fire. We love it when we can connect and we can provide opportunities to actually, because this is live, I can answer some of your questions as you're going live. We are streaming to YouTube as well as to Facebook. So I am monitoring the comments here in my StreamYard stream. So hey guys, happy Wednesday. I'm excited today to be able to really start talking about the one shift that you can make in your business that will forever impact how much money you can make when you have an amazing product and an amazing business that is just waiting for you to activate it. We're going to be talking. I'm going to share a little bit of my story today about how when I made that one shift, that one shift, it's a mindset shift. It's a way of focusing and looking at your business. When I made that shift, it changed the whole way that my business was running. It changed the whole way that I actually approached my business. And it was the exact point where my business went from where I was selling, 20, 30, $50,000 a year in artwork to where the business exploded. Okay. So I'm going to share my story, kind of walk you through because it took me, I mean, like, I want to, I kind of like, it's one of those things where I'm not like embarrassed because it's what we all have to do. But it took me a couple of years to get to the right mindset shift so that my business could explode. Okay. So I'm going to share. I don't want you to have to spend a year. Don't want to have to spend 5 years trying to figure out how to do all this, how to create a selling system that allows for you to close sales. But I was in a place in my art business where I was doing good. I mean, I was doing good. The harder I worked, I still was just making the same amount of money. Every single income stream that I bought into my business at the end of the year, I was working more hours and making the exact same amount of money until I made this mindset shift, until I changed the way that I started looking at my business. Instead of me looking at my business for like, how much work am I going to have to do? And I shifted it to making decisions based on how much my art business could do for me. So we are here every single Wednesday. I'm here every single Wednesday, 12 p.m., really helping you build out that selling system that you need to have running behind the scenes. I know that when we are business owners and when we're first moving into a business owner situation where we're like claiming our entrepreneur hat, we're claiming the fact that our artwork has the ability to make us money. I know that looking at the online market, when we dabble and we're trying stuff, it's confusing and it's difficult to actually get conversions and get those sales coming in. The reality is when we're watching those successful businesses, I mean, if you're out there like most of us are, really kind of watching what successful people are doing, it looks like they're just posting everywhere in social media and then they send everybody to their website and they close hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. The reality is that's what it looks like because nobody wants your competition to see what you're doing. Everybody wants, when you're out there and your business is in social media, you want everything to look really smooth to your customers and even your competition. You don't want them to see the system that's running behind the scenes. And when we're working with artists inside of the business builder, we're showing artists the system that is running behind the scenes. Okay. So today we're going to talk about that one mindset shift that if you just make this shift in your business, okay, it starts with a decision. If you make this one shift, it will forever impact how much money your business will be able to bring in for you. Okay, so happy Wednesday. My name's Karen Ahuha, here every single week. Love working with artists to get their businesses jump started. This is more than just trying to purchase tactics and try to figure out little pieces. This is about having a whole system that's running that allows for you to identify and find your ideal client, Bring them into your selling system, give them everything that they need to say yes, so that when we make our offers, they're pulling out their credit cards. And as a friend of mine likes to say, absolutely love her. She's like, we want to throw in their credit cards at our faces. And that is what we do when we have a system. Okay. So what we talk about here is about the back facing system, those things that most business owners aren't going to share with you, because when they have a system that works, why would they give it to their competition? Okay. So we are here just digging into what we need to be successful. Okay. So let's talk about successful businesses for a second. This is the mindset shift. Okay. Successful businesses do not focus on their current state, on where their business is today. Successful businesses are always looking out a year, 5 years to their desired state. They're always looking to, hey, this is what it looks like to run my business right now, but I want more. So I'm always focusing on what I need to do to get to my desired state. It is the one shift, the one key business shift that when we make in our business, it will forever impact how much money you can make, because you're no longer looking at just what you have and what you don't have. You're focusing on what you want, and then you're making the steps to get to what you want. Okay. It is the simplest shift up here, but practically and making those shifts in your business, that's where the challenge is. So we're going to dig into that today. Okay. So if you're like, yep, I have what she has and I'm going to make that shift, I'm going to show you how to make that shift and why it is so important that when you're looking at your business, you have to be focusing on your desired state. And I'm going to share my story. Once again, earlier I was like, it's a little like, sometimes you're like, I don't want to share when I struggled. I don't want to like be out in front of my social media letting people know that there was a period in my business where I struggled. There was a period in my business where I couldn't get over the 50K mark. I was working harder and harder and searching for solutions, but all I was really doing was making decisions based on my lack of what I had versus the possibility of really going out and getting what I knew I wanted and what I know I deserved. Okay. So, big businesses that are successful are focusing on how to bring in money. Okay. Because they recognize that capital is what funds growth. You have to have capital in order to invest to be able to get growth. Okay. So instead of big businesses, instead of looking at how they can save money, when they look at running their businesses and getting to their desired states, they're looking for investments. They're looking at what they can add to their current business systems that allow for them to have the growth that they need. Okay. So, you guys, I'm so like, we're going to jump in. I want you guys to know, please let me know you're here. Give me a thumbs up. Even if this is in replay, let me know you're here, because I'm going to be offering you opportunities to get on calls with me so that we can do what we're calling a system refresh. If you're looking at your current selling system, you're looking at what you're currently doing and you need to refresh it, you need us to do a reset or a refresh, we're offering opportunities to work with us to do what we're calling a system refresh. It's been how many weeks? It's been going on 3 weeks since we finished the challenge. We know that you understand you need a system. We know that you understand you need messaging that allows for you to identify your client and pull them through your selling system. And we know that you understand that it's super important to be charging the price that reflects the value of your artwork. If you need a refresh, that's what we're going to be doing. So just literally get your call. Karen, so helpful. Thank you. Awesome. I'm working with, a good 20, 30 people every single week, just working them through what they need to be doing next. And we want you guys to have what you need. So if you've been here and you're trying and you're implementing everything that we're showing you, it's time for a refresh. If you haven't had your first sale or you're not having that consistent income that you're looking for, it's time for a refresh. Because the reality is here, guys, when we are working in the online space, we need to be investing in our businesses. Successful business owners, this is what they're investing in. This is what I want. It's a part of the mindset shift. It's a part of the business shift that you're going to need to have. So we talked about the mindset shift. Instead of only focusing on what you have right here, what's working, what's not working, what you have and what you don't have. We always have to be forward focused, and we have to be focusing on what we want our business to be able to do for us. And then we need to be investing in what we need to do to get to our desired state. Successful big businesses are investing in things that save time. You want to get back into your studio creating, you have to be investing and doing those things that allow for you to grow your business and get to the place where you are getting time back in your studio. Okay. Successful businesses are investing in things that fund growth, that allow for your business to grow beyond where it is today. And successful businesses invest in things that save energy. And we're going to talk about that for a second. When we're looking at our art businesses, it can be overwhelming when we're out there working in our own little bubble, not getting any sort of direction or help. We're out there kind of floating around, dabbling, purchasing little products, kind of like trying to purchase all the little pieces of the system, but they're all floating and nothing's together, nothing's connecting, and nothing's getting traction. Successful big businesses invest in systems that save them energy. And we're going to talk about the business owner energy. Save them from getting caught up in the overwhelm. Save them from getting caught up being behind their desk too often. As business owners, we need to be working on the things in our business that lead us to what makes us money, not on those things that just eat up our time, those things that we realize we're just dabbling, those things that we're like are just busy work. We need to be investing in things that save us energy. So we are going to be really doing that refresh on, we're going to be doing that refresh meeting. If you want to grab one of those calls, just say me in the comments and then I can reach out to you. I'll need to make sure that we're friends first, and then I'll just reach out to you and send you my calendar and we can grab a call for that. So we're gonna dig in. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about like how you not only make the mindset shift, but what do you need to do in the from a practical standpoint inside of your business so that you can actually make this shift happen, where you stop focusing on what you don't have and trying to like save money, but you start focusing on what you know you need and you start investing in the things that get you to your desired state. Okay. So my story, I'm not being honest, it took me a good couple years to make this shift. Okay. I was successful enough in getting enough sales that I didn't have motivation to make the shift. Every little thing that I did was an income producing income stream. The reality was I was working more hours, and at the end of the year, after I looked at all my expenses, I was never making any more money. I was simply just working harder, like investing in new strategies, and then at the end of the year, I'm like, after I paid the tax man, I still had the same amount of money. But I was like, goodness gracious. I was producing, we'll talk about like the way that my progression through this whole entire journey, how it went, because I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to have success now. I want you to be able to take what I learned and be able to implement it immediately versus walking the same long journey that I had to walk. Okay. So 2012, stepped out of the corporate world and was like, what the heck? Actually, it was the first time I picked up a paintbrush in 2012. And I was like, what the heck? I'm gonna use my graphic design experience and I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just create an art business. And I went about it the same way everybody did. I looked around, I was like, oh, let's look at successful artists. What are they doing? What does it look like on the front side? And I'm gonna just duplicate that. How hard can that be? So I went out, I got my artwork in galleries, I got my artwork in art shows. I went and did that whole like drive 5-hour radius from your house. I mean, this is back in 2012, right? So we had the online market wasn't as sweet as it is right now. It wasn't as easy to sell your artwork online as it is today. 10 years ago, what just wasn't the same. So I was out there. I had my artwork in galleries all over the country. I had to ship it. I had to drive it. I would go, I had the full set of panels, sit out in the heat, in the rain, in the wind, in the cold, right? Setting up my booth, getting my artwork, leaving it up overnight with policemen watching it, only to have the rain come and ruin pieces of artwork. I mean, you know what it's like, okay? So I did all of that, okay? I did all of that. I was doing okay. Once again, I was like looking and going, okay, end of year, same amount of money. Then I started shifting. I'm like, okay, kind of done with loading up the car, setting up my artwork places, and then loading most of it back into my car and bringing it home. Make a couple grand over a weekend after I added in all the food, all of the hotel, everything. I was like, well, that really was hardly worth my time. I might have made $10 or $15 an hour. Like, what the heck? Okay. So I started looking around. I was like, I started writing grants, trying to get grants. I mean, I wrote so many grants that now the Mid-America Art Alliance asks me on occasion to review their grants as well that are coming in. They're like, would you like to review some grants? And I'm like, sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say no. But I started doing those sort of things. I remember a pivotal change in my business was on a day when I was at a box store. It's called At Home. And I'm not sure who owns this company, but it's a really big warehouse. That's everything from furniture to ficus trees to outdoor furniture to artwork, right? To comforters to pillows, right? It's just called At Home. And I was inside of the store looking for something for my house, and I saw over to the corner that they had a huge art section. I walk over and I start checking it out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at all this artwork from big format to little format. And there was a woman who was going up and down the aisle, and I noticed her because she was like literally huge diamond ring, fur coat, like expensive purse. And I was like, I started watching what she was putting in her cart. And she was literally just putting tons of artwork in her cart. Quickly, I assessed that she probably had a second home, or she just needed artwork that she was literally going to throw out in a year or so. She was just putting stuff into her cart. And I looked at the price point inside of her cart, and I'm like, she's my ideal customer. Why is she not buying original artwork? And so when I started thinking about that, I was like, well, let's try art licensing. How hard could it be to do art licensing? I want one of my paintings to be in her cart at some point. So within a matter of 6 months, I had my first art licensing client. I had someone who was taking my artwork to Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Hobby Lobby, and I was making my first sales in those large box stores. The system of just getting an art licensing, when you're successful, then other art licensing agents start coming and wooing your way. So over a matter of 2 or 3 years, I worked with over 3 art licensing agents. My artwork has been sold internationally. It's Europe, Latin America, all through the box stores, again, TJ Maxx, all those things. So I'm sitting there and you see a lot of artwork behind me. It's because for 3 years, I created 10 to 15 paintings every single week for them to choose from. Okay. When again, the end of the year came, yeah, I made like anywhere between 30 and $50,000 a year with them, but I worked every single day, all day long, creating the artwork that they needed. I created in 3 years over 1,500 pieces from them, from which they purchased maybe 20 of them. I made a ton of money on the paintings that they did purchase, but I would be reimbursed anywhere from 30 cents to $1.50 for any piece of artwork. So over time, may have made $50,000, $60,000, maybe probably like 150,000 over those 3 years. But the reality was they were making millions. So quickly, I was like, okay, it's possible to make a lot of money selling artwork. Why am I working all these hours for $40,000 or $50,000 a year, no benefits? And most of the time when I asked, well, why weren't you able to close the sale on this one? They're like, it just took too long. I sold someone else's artwork instead. So here I am looking 2017-ish going, what the heck? I'm working my tushy off and I just can't make it over that 40K, 50K at the end of the year. Like, what's happening? So it was the first time that I recognized that I was making decisions on how I was working based on my current state instead of taking control and ownership of the whole process. Okay. So I started looking, I go, it's possible to make 6 figures selling your artwork by yourself. Instead of getting 30 cents for a $20 piece of artwork or a buck for something they're selling for a couple $100, I can keep the whole amount. So how do I start doing that? This is the shift that then took about a year to realize, because I'm still out there trying to figure all of this out on my own. Okay. I knew that I had all the components that I needed to be successful. I knew that I understood the front and the top of the sales funnel. I mean, heck, I'd been working in the corporate world for 20 years, selling big ticket items for 20 years. I knew there was a selling system. I was putting it together, but I just couldn't figure everything out on my own. And the first time that the shift happened was when I realized that it was time to get help from people who were walking the same journey as me, but were further along in the process. So the first person that I hired to work on my business was someone who did just an audit, the kind of a social media audit, a couple $100. She came back with some interesting points. I was like, I never saw the big picture. Never, okay, that's really cool. The reality was I still didn't have anything that I could actually implement to close sales. So then I was like, okay. So then I went out and I bought my first, like, at the time, big ticket purchase for a course, which was $1,500. And it started showing me some of the bigger systems that were out there, some of the options I had in order to sell my artwork online, some of the different processes in the different formats. Once again, I had 1 month to watch everything and learn everything, take my notes. And I was like sitting there going, okay, now who do I ask? Like, I have all this content, I have all this information, but which one of these processes is going to lead me to where I actually can make that consistent monthly income? Okay, so 2020, what happens in 2020? We all know what happens in 2020. So for me, 2020 was the best-selling art selling year ever, even though we had a lot of things happening in COVID. But what it forced me to do, okay? So all my art licensing agents literally called me up in one day and said, quit sending electronic files, Karen. We have no idea when we're going to be able to get back into the building and see our customers at TJ Maxx, Hobby Lobby, Home Goods. We don't know when COVID's going to be over. It looks like this is going to be a long process. So stop making artwork, stop sending it. Okay. That same day, I started having my galleries across the country saying, give me your credit card. We're FedExing all of your artwork back. Or if they were local artists, bring your mask, pick up your artwork. We're shutting down. The next day, I started getting emails from all my art shows that started saying, yeah, we're canceling. I know it's March, but we're canceling our November show, our October shows. We're canceling everything. So I had a catalyst that made me say, the only place where I can actually sell my artwork is now in the online market. And I'm also going to tell you, it was the first time. It was hard because how many years in the corporate world selling high ticket items with an MBA that I said, you know what? I need help figuring this out. I need someone to quickly get me to the place where I can have a system for selling my artwork online. I have to be doing this. It was hard. It was hard to get to that place where I was like, I need to have someone who's walked this journey before me and is willing to share. Okay. So it was the first time I pulled out my credit card for a 10K investment where I was like, oh, oh my God. Oh my. Okay. I get it. But I'm also going to tell you that that was my first 6-figure year as well. 2020, first 6-figure year. Okay. So the $10,000 that I invested to be able to break that $40,000 to $50,000 mark that allowed for me to get my first 6-figure year selling artwork was a huge. And here's what I got. When I started looking at what I needed, okay, when I started really investing what I needed, I knew that I needed to work with someone who was doing what I was trying to do and was further along in the process. That was what I was looking for. I was looking for someone who was willing to share it with me, because there are a lot of people who are further along than I am. There are a lot of people who are further along in their businesses than I am, but they're not willing to share it. So I had to find someone who's willing to share it. I wanted to be in a room with people who had the skill set and the knowledge that I needed. I had to be able to learn a lot of new skills, but not only learning new skills, I needed to have someone help me refine what I was learning and help me when I implemented it. And if it didn't quite work the way that I thought it would work, I needed someone to look at what I was doing and be able to say, have you tried this? Did you tweak this? Keep going. A lot of times it's keep going. You're on the right track. I needed to have 24/7 access to pre-recorded training so that I could watch it in the evenings. I was running a business still. I had to go and start watching some of those training videos. I wanted them 24/7. And a lot of at that time, my coaches lived at different parts of the world and different parts of the country. So I needed to have access that was available. If they were sleeping, I may have been working. Okay. I went out with my first selling weekend, taking the system that I finally packed together, that instead of just having like trying to dabble in social media, trying to sell here and there, trying to like figure out all the different things that need to put together, I created the system. It's a system that I showed you during the challenge. I created that system that allowed for me to pay back the investment in the first selling weekend that I went out to sell artwork. Sold more than 10K to online customers, people that I found out in the world and pulled them into my universe. Okay. No more trying to sell at galleries, no more trying to sell at art shows, relying on their marketing and their effort and who they were bringing in. I found a system that allowed for me to create 10K selling weekends anytime I wanted from the comfort of my own home. It also allowed for me to identify hot leads that I could close and track the months afterwards. Just track them and close them even after that selling weekend. So not only was that system allowing for me to get quick hits with using a strategy that closed sales, it was also allowing for me to continue to close in between my launches. Okay. Then I was like, I have a repeatable, duplicatable, and scalable system that allows for me to be able to do this with whatever product I want to. If I want to sell art classes, use the same system. If I want to sell artwork, I use the same selling system. It doesn't matter what I'm selling, I use it to be able to do that. Inside of the Art Boss Business Builder, we even create a selling weekend for art bosses that created and closed over 20K in a matter of 3 weeks with 0 people in our universe. 0. We went from 0 to 600 people and closed 20K. Okay. So when you work with us, this is why we want you to have system refreshes. You're working in an environment where other artists are on the same journey, and you're working with industry experts that have worked with other artists who are doing this, and they're further along in the process. Okay. They're industry experts who know what they're doing, who know how to run Facebook ads, who know how to write copy for Amazon, Facebook, emails. We have experts who know how to identify when you're in your own way and you need to make those mindset shifts. And you work with experts to help you create that strategy, making sure you're always focusing on those things that bring in the money, that you're always investing your time, your resources, and your money on things that allow for you to have growth in your business. Okay, so we are going to be, I'm offering them, if you want a refresh call, please reach out to me. If you're watching on YouTube, I did post the link to my calendar in the description. You can grab that and jump on it's a 50-minute call. We'll take a look at your current selling system. We'll look where you need to refresh it. We'll uncover what you need to do next. Okay, so I don't offer these calls all the time. I want you guys to, it's been going on 3 weeks since we did the challenge. I want you guys to have a refresh. Okay, gave you a ton of content over a week. It's time, over just like 3 days. It is time to start refreshing and making sure that you are putting together a system that closes sales. Okay, so other than that, I think that is it for today. Just remember that one shift you can make in your business is, instead of just focusing on what you have right now and making just making business decisions on what you have right now, I want you to be looking at what you want your business to do for you and making decisions that get you to that desired state. Okay, so love hanging out with you guys. Please feel free to leave questions. I'll be monitoring the questions here for the next day or so. If you have questions, type me in the comments if you'd like to grab a call with me, and we'll connect and we'll get you that calendar. All right, guys, you have a great rest of your day. Happy Wednesday, and we'll see you next week. Talk to you later.